happening, folks? So just going to do my weekly outlook this week. Just delete this. So starting from the monthly down to the 4 hour. First week of the month formed the resistance. So monthly is just looking like that. Really not really much to talk about really. Sort of just below this monthly resistance previous. Obviously this is trading in a whole monthly resistance zone. Weekly, kind of same again. We've sort of completed this overall triangle to the upside here. And I'm going to be looking for further continuation if we can hold supports and remain above upside for me. Weekly formed a resistance at previous resistance. So really not much to talk about. Friday was good last week in a sense that it sort of confirmed that higher support. So just looking at this on the weekly, we can see that when we did close above here 2 weeks ago, we have then pulled back to that previous structure point and rejected. Price has closed bearish, so we could see further downside. But back to Friday, formed a support and a very solid support at that. I would be looking for further upside. So where that actually comes, I'm not too sure. Does price maybe form higher supports here to continue, sort of play this triangle now, or does price maybe form lower resistances and come back down on the basis that last week formed a resistance? So is there maybe going to be some form of upside just to maybe tap back into these regions, and then price maybe breaks down to fill that? Potentially, not too sure, but I am favoring upside. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to, this real zone isn't really relevant no more, but I can delete that at a different stage. All these 4-hour resistance supports aren't really relevant until price comes back in. So it does look a little bit messy, but I just want to see how this actually looks up here. More so from a point of view of I know this is the most recent weekly resistance. How does that look on the daily? 4-hour. Yeah, I'm going to keep that on. Just it's more of a visual representation, just to kind of like confirm to me where we are. And it is very important area, and trading in and around here can be tough. Of course, I would be looking for these weekly resistances for price to remain above. I can still trade within this zone. I just know it's dangerous, but if price can hold supports within, then further upside makes sense. So looking at price on the daily, very nice daily candle, form of support. I'm sort of going to be playing this idea in my head, but of course aware of what's in between. I just go to the 4-hour. Sort of 4-hour structure in here is a little bit messy. I know that this area is most likely going to be some relevancy, so I'm just going to extend this across. I'll just lock that. Just extend this across as well, and I just want to look at this on the 1-hour chart. Yeah, because like this is where it made sense for me to sell from last week. Sell below here because of this, right? So it's kind of going to work in reverse for me. For buying this week, of course, buying above here makes sense because that'll be sweet. Because buying above there makes sense because again, there's clean traffic left. Buys above. So can price mirror this over here? Maybe something like this. or it doesn't really matter as long as structure can get above our volume push. Can't necessarily be replicated. Target into the low, target the whole candle, target into this zone. Who knows? But that's going to make sense for me for buys. It's also very much going to make sense for me to sell in here as well. I'm obviously more comfortable buying, right? However, this could form a lower resistance, and this could also be a potential triangle here to the downside. So if price per se, pulls down here and forms support and pushes up, and then forms lower resistance and starts to break down or continue or break below here in that whole structure, for which I would like to see for upside, then that's going to make sense from a structure perspective to sell back into this. So that's also a possibility. Now, where the sales make sense from, I do not know. It doesn't make sense for me to put a array here because we've got already structure and say, oh, sales below here makes sense. But price could just come deeper to form some form of higher support on a higher time frame, like a solid 4 hour. Like we've only got one small candle from a resistance perspective, so it doesn't make sense for me to say sell there makes sense. Of course, buying here makes sense as well, because it's going to be playing this range. If price can close within and remain within, then that is going to look like an option for me. And then of course, way up here, if price just tanks to the upside, above here is going to make sense for buys. And then of course, what other areas? Let me just have a look at the 1 hour. Yeah, I do believe if price pulls back, and I don't know how far price is going to come back if it does, but of course buys from in and around this support are going to make sense. And of course buys from in and around like this whole region. I'm just going to maybe put it here for the sake, and it's not to say that once price gets there I'm going to buy, but price can come deeper to test the support to then push higher, and of course leaving this zone is where it's going to make sense for me. If we can come down, failure to push down, flip bullish, have some form of structure here for upside, continue, and then again, like from a structure perspective, like the most recent price action, you can clearly see that when we put in these little supports and resistances, once we get above these, this is where the clean traffic is. Clean traffic comes above the structure from Asian range from Thursday, above here. So price might find its way back to a previous level of structure. Because for me, this whole range, it's trickling down. So the fact that price, the way I sort of look at this is price is doing this, right? And the fact that we broke above this, the most recent resistance, is price going to come back to the previous structure point to then find support to continue? So it might come back to here, who knows, it might come all the way back to this previous resistance, previous support area, which lines up nicely with this structure and this structure and this structure and this structure. So then again, obviously the most recent support resistance. So that's why I've sort of got this line, this ray here, but that line is more likely going to be relevant until see if price does come and form some form of support. So that's how I'm looking at things. To me, this leg up is an early indication of potential change in structure. So I need to see a higher support formed. That higher support may have already formed because price might open and just continue from here. And this point is going to be where the higher support is, but at the same time, price might open and come down for the beginning of the week, and then find the support to then continue. Or price might not even continue. We might just have straight downside. But for me, for sales, it's going to more so be price puts in structure and we fail to continue and we pull into previous levels and start to break down. That's going to make sense for me to sell below here, wherever the structure may be. But kind of similar to last week when price was here, I need a little bit more development on this side. See where sales make sense. If price does this, and then next minute price is breaking below here, this is going to be a clear option for me to sell down into here. So until that forms yet, I'm just going to have to wait and see. So that's very much everything for me based on, again, limited structure. Buys make a lot of sense for me, but I just need to see a little bit more. Cleaner buys are going to be above all this noise. Cleaner traffic here, pushing into this previous zone. If we can hold within this zone, then we can play the overall triangle, which means you could get buys from here to here. Come out here, see if we can remain in here, and then get buys from here to here. And play that overall, or just hold position. That is it for me. Yeah, that's very much it. It's very basic, based on the structure. That's where I want to potentially take opportunities. Obviously I'll come into the session every day and look at the session bass and the structure and where does it make sense based on what I can see. For me, this is going to be relevant, but it can also not be because this is most recent. Like, I don't know if price is going to respect this level or this level or these levels. So I'd prefer to just let price play its hand first and show me what it wants to do. And that's really much it for me. Pretty short and sweet. Is there anything else that I am going to be paying attention to? Not really. As long as price remains in here, there's more chance of upside in my opinion. We'll just have to wait for buying opportunities. That's what I'm going to be doing. Yeah, that's it. Very much, very basic. Well, get that posted up.